Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Michelle, and today we have Stacey on the show who has just listed her business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Stacey, good to have you on the show. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
I really want to thank you for making the time to come on today. I know it's a really busy time for you right now, and I'm looking forward to learning more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of it. So it's an Amazon FBA and e-commerce business in the occasions and gifts niche created in May 2015. The average revenue for the business is $51,510 per month, and it makes an average of $11,729 per month in net profit. Included in this sale is an Amazon Seller Central account with 220 SKUs, and that's 50 parent SKUs with 6 core product categories, a domain including all site content and files, a secondary domain, supplier relationships, social media accounts for Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, trademarks, and accounts for Shopify, Walmart, Etsy, and eBay. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 61102 to learn more about this business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that we've heard about the business, let's find out more about the seller. Stacey, what can you tell us about your background in starting and running online businesses?
Sure. Well, since I was in college, I was selling stuff online on the side, just used items generally. I would resell my textbooks from college every year and just some random things I would come across. So I had a little bit of experience with just selling items online in general. Then I actually lost my job in 2014. So I was looking into ways that I could make this a business because I did enjoy it. And thankfully, my husband was very supportive. He had a full-time job, so this allowed me some time to see if I could really make a go at this. And early 2015, I came across the idea of creating your own brand of products. And I liked that idea over what I was doing with arbitrage, just not having to constantly search for new or used items to sell. So I took a course on how to private label and started my business.
That's really cool because genuinely you got started quite early as far as, FBA and even kind of branching into this private label space. So what inspired you to start this particular business? What was it about this niche that attracted you?
Well, as you said, it's occasions and gifts, and I'll go a little further to say it's sort of party supplies, wedding gifts, this kind of area. And it's just something that I found kind of fun, and I always enjoy a good party. So it was just a fun space to be in. And I saw an opportunity on Amazon when I was researching what I could get into and just really liked this area.
I definitely understand that. It does seem like a fun space to be in. After all, you're kind of like part of these really big celebrations in people's lives. What was it about the FBA model that attracted you? Did you launch on Amazon first? Was that your first sales channel?
Yes, I did. And like I said, I've been selling sort of used items and doing some arbitrage with new and used items, but that required a lot of going into stores and, just constantly having to replenish. And I'm not a big shopper anyway. So I like the idea of this business model, just more sustainable and being able to also create my own products or make variations of things that, existed in the marketplace, but putting my own spin on them. I really liked that idea.
Yeah, definitely. So you launched on Amazon first, but you have multiple sales streams. So Amazon right now, does that currently represent like the majority of your sales?
Yes, we're about 85% Amazon and then 15% everything else. But I will say Etsy is our second largest. Of that 15%, Etsy is the largest of Amazon channels because Etsy has allowed us to sell as a party supply category. So they're our second largest channel.
Yeah, it's an excellent platform for that. You've had this for 7 years now. And you've really built it up into something really successful. So I'm curious, why have you decided to sell it now?
Well, my husband and I are foster parents, and we actually were able to adopt our 4-year-old son this past December.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So we're now official parents, but we also are opening our home again to other foster placements, which means, at any day we could get a baby, a 3-year-old, anything like that. So I've just found once I became a parent, there's just, for any parents listening, you understand, there's a lot less time to focus on this. Your priorities change. And that's the main reason.
Absolutely. I have a 4-year-old and yeah, it's a lot. No, completely understand that. As you look back over the years that you've spent building this business up, what would you say your biggest win was?
I'd say my biggest win was being able to employ people. My main employee, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, she was a college student at the time, just a freshman. I hired her in early 2016, and she's been with me ever since. I just kept adding more and more tasks to her plate because she's just a rock star, and she's been full time with me now for I think 2.5 years. But loved being able to see her help support her as she has been going through college. She's now working on her second degree, I believe, and just the relationship I have with her and getting to watch her grow as a person. And at other times, I've been able to employ some other people, and that's been really rewarding.
Yeah, I can see how that would be really rewarding. That's such a great story. On the flip side of that, though, what would you say was your biggest setback or challenge?
Our biggest challenge for sure was COVID. As you can imagine, when COVID came and everything was shutting down, people were not and couldn't plan parties or weddings. Weddings got canceled, parties had to be canceled. So we took a really big hit. And, we haven't fully recovered to our pre COVID levels just because, there's still a lot of fear, I think, for planning. And we had a good year still last year and we're profitable. But COVID is still, that was a really tough time. I did have to let go employees because our sales initially in COVID just dropped to very little. Like I said, we have recovered since, but that was a very difficult time that's honestly not quite over yet still.
Yeah, as soon as you said COVID, because I think everybody says, oh, COVID, and they're more thinking about, like supply chain delays, things like that. But I can see how that would have been a huge challenge for a business like yours. Curious, Stacey, earlier you kind of had touched upon this, especially, when you're talking about listing products on Etsy and whatnot. Do you do product development? Do you do your own designs for some of this stuff?
We do. We didn't initially for anything. We were, just importing what the manufacturers already had for products. And of course, there are very similar items for some of our products. But I began to, for a few of our product lines, we did begin to tweak some things, make our own designs. And that's been really fun to do. So, yes, we have been able to put our own spin on some items.
So for right now, how are people finding your listings? Are you using, PPC ads, or do you have your listings optimized with SEO to drive traffic to your products?
Yes, this is definitely an area that we could improve upon, and for, I would say, an area of opportunity for a new buyer. I do use PPC campaigns, but I'm the one that runs those, and I'm not the greatest at it. But yes, we really solely use PPC as far as, I've never launched a product traditionally as far as like, I know a lot of people do giveaways and, there are obviously some gray hat and black hat tactics there. We've never done any of that. If we launch a new product, I just put it up. I do, my best with keywords and SEO, and then turn on some auto PPC campaigns. And that's basically it. Again, I know there's a lot of area for optimization there.
Something must be working. As you said, you guys are profitable. So are you doing anything else in terms of marketing? I know you have some social media accounts as well.
No, we're not doing anything else right now.
Okay. So what do you see as the major opportunities for growth with this business?
I think the things above, if someone really could get the PPC dialed in, I know that our listings could definitely be optimized for sure. So we don't really touch any outside marketing as far as, any Google or Facebook or anything like that. We haven't really delved into that area.
I imagine a business like this could do fairly well on Pinterest with a little bit of attention. It seems like a platform that would really work well with these types of products.
Yes, and we do have a Pinterest account with some, but again, sort of minimal effort put in there as of this time.
Well, that's a pretty easy win then for somebody coming in. So I was wondering, could you walk us through what your supply chain looks like? I know you've got your own stuff that you're kind of developing. You also work with manufacturers just for like their kind of standard items. So what does your supply chain currently look like?
So all of our suppliers are in China, and we typically just order, I would say every month we do a deep dive into our supply levels and see what we need to order. And actually my employee handles all of that, and I'll just kind of oversee what the work that she does, but she will contact the supplier, she'll make the orders. Everything at this time is shipped by air with just one exception of one of our heavier products that we send by sea, which again I know is a big area for optimization there, because I realize that air shipping is a lot more expensive, but it's just been easier. And I never worked on figuring out the logistics of how to do, containers and putting supplier orders together. That's just an area that hasn't been worked out. So that's definitely some opportunity. So sorry, back to your supply chain question. Yeah, we order what we need and based on, lead times and everything. And most everything's shipped by air. Basically, we have a little office warehouse, and that's how we do everything currently.
So how are your off Amazon orders fulfilled? Are those being fulfilled through Amazon, like through multi-channel fulfillment? Or are you guys fulfilling those orders yourselves?
We fulfill those orders ourselves. My employee, that's also part of her duties, is every day she ships our off Amazon orders directly from our warehouse to the customer.
Okay. And do you have any limitations really at the Amazon warehouses right now? Have you recently had them raised along with everyone else? I know they had some restock limits that everyone was sort of dealing with over the past year or two.
No, we haven't had any issues. Our inventory performance index score has always been in the green area. They show you that little dashboard there. We did, I think it was last fall, we're dealing with some limits. I think when Amazon changed some things, we weren't able to send stuff in for a very brief time in the fall, but since then we haven't had any issues.
That's excellent. So have you had any stockouts over the past 12 months or so?
Yes, we did. As with everyone that had some supply chain problems last year, we had one or two of our, I would say, top 10 items that stuck and took a little more time than we thought getting to us. But for the most part, since everything has been airshipped, it's not been as big of an issue as I know it has been for others.
Yeah, I think that everyone's kind of been in the same boat, more or less, with stockouts and limitations. So I'm curious, what does a typical week look like for you when running this business?
Sure. So I mainly handle the financial side. So my one benefit of my older Amazon account is I can do daily disbursements of funds if I want to. I know a lot of people have to wait for every 2 weeks from Amazon, but I actually go in there and I manually disperse funds at least 3 times a week. And I'll check sales, inventory levels at a broad view. Like I said, my employee kind of handles that at a more detailed view at least once a month. So I'm mainly looking at financials, making sure bills are paid, checking sales, and overseeing, anything that my employee needs.
You've mentioned your employee a few times. So is this the only employee that you currently have?
Yes, I have the one, and she's full time.
Can you kind of run us through the things that she typically handles?
Yes, so she does everything from our customer support to, I guess I would say, all the physical stuff with the inventory. So she's in our warehouse. So when inventory comes in from a supplier, she will, check it in and make sure everything looks good, get the count it, make sure we've got what we're supposed to. She'll send it in as needed to Amazon. We try to keep, 6 to 8 weeks of stock in Amazon. And as we said before, she sends out all of our off Amazon orders to customers. And then she does just, various other sort of administrative kind of tasks. She'll make sales sheets for me when we're checking inventory levels and, seeing what's sold, what we have in stock.
Sounds like she's really valuable to the business. Stacey, I'm curious, if a buyer were to take over the business, what would you say is the biggest challenge they would face?
I think the biggest challenge, honestly, is still COVID. Although we're doing well, we still haven't totally recovered from our pre-COVID sales years. I think it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity for, I believe, I keep hearing good things about, there's going to be a lot more weddings this year. And I feel like once we can get through this, even if COVID sticks around, it's at least changing shutdowns and everything. I think it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity for hopefully when things totally recover and, sales will go back up to their pre-COVID levels.
I can definitely see what you're saying with that. So, Stacey, I was wondering, would you commit to a non-compete for a new owner?
Yes, absolutely.
And how much support are you offering buyers?
I believe I said 45 days of email and phone calls.
Excellent. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Yes, I am.
Just before we wrap up, I'm wondering if you were to put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why would you say this is a business worth buying?
I think it's worth buying because, we have a really solid foundation. We've been around, as you said, for 7 years, which in this space is quite a long time. We have really solid reviews on our products. We have a good reputation. And I believe there's a lot of untapped opportunity with this. And as I said, I do think that things will recover and increase as we sort of get this COVID thing more under control. So I do think that it's a really solid business and still has a lot of opportunity.
That is an excellent place to leave off on, Stacey. So I really want to thank you for coming on and giving us a little more insight into both you and your business. It's really a pleasure for me to get to know you a little better, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 61102. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.